Bem-vindos ao Podbear, mais um episódio do nosso podcast, o melhor podcast de Palmas. E a gente está aqui hoje para fazer um episódio diferente do que a gente está acostumado a fazer. Normalmente a gente traz aqui alguns convidados, conversa um pouquinho, debate alguns temas. Só que hoje, com alguns alunos, a gente vai fazer uma análise de um livro que a gente leu na nossa disciplina de língua inglesa no ensino médio da Maple Bear. E a gente vai fazer uma análise. E a diferença maior vai ser que essa análise vai ser feita em inglês. Então vai ser um bate-papo um pouquinho em inglês para a gente poder discutir algumas coisas que a gente leu, anotações que a gente fez, enfim. Então tá aqui, eu sou o Teacher Victor, tá aqui comigo a Alessandra Vargas, João Antônio e Matheus Cerqueira. Alright, guys? Let's switch to English.
Yes,
So,
sir.
can you please tell me a little bit about yourselves? Not me, but tell them a little bit about yourselves, like your full name, your age, where you're from, and the things you like to study the most, like your perspectives for school. Because I think before we start talking about the book itself, it will be important to give you guys some background information about yourselves. So, ladies? Lady?
My name is Matheus Cerqueira. I am 16 years old, and I like a lot to study English language and Portuguese. I think these are the subjects that help me more to develop social skills, and I think this is the more important things to my formation.
Great. Yourself, buddy?
My name is João Antônio. I'm 16 years old, and I study in Maple Bear Palmas for, I think, 10 years, maybe. And the subjects I like most to study is, I think, English.
Of course. You would never say otherwise, right?
Yes. And
Do you see that, Bruno? You see that?
and mathematics as well. So Bruno will be angry with me.
All right.
Okay, so
Lele?
my name is Alessandra. This is my second year in Maple Bear. Probably my favorite subject is probably biology. I also like English. English is good, but it's probably biology from my teacher Alan. Love him.
Yes. Lots of love for you, Alan. Lots of love for you. You know, these boys are gonna miss you.
Yes.
So, first thing, I would like to talk about the book itself. What did you guys think about the book? Did you enjoy it? Is it the kind of book that you guys read? Because normally, when we talk about ELA, which is our discipline, when we talk about the books we read in school, especially you boys who have been studying in Maple Bear for longer, there are some books that you guys have read, but I don't know, maybe never a book like this, which is like a self-development book. It's a little bit different, mostly novels you guys read. So first, for you boys, what did you guys think about the book?
I like a lot self-development books. I read a lot at my house on English and Portuguese, like of financials and these. And I think to learn to have good habits and to understand how money and these things happen, that said about this on the book Atomic Habits is a lot better than novels, in my opinion.
Really?
Yes.
Good. What about you? What did you think?
I think similar to Matheus, and there are some tips on the book that I usually now I use on my life for making good habits. And
That's not something you can do when you read a novel, right? Like
Yes.
get something from the book and put it in your life.
when you read the novel, you most like think, it could be me and someone.
Yeah, that kind of projecting. Yeah. What about you, Lily?
Those kind of self-improvement books aren't my type of book. As you said, I prefer novels. But after reading this book, I think I'm more interested in reading more.
Closer to the microphone.
In reading more of that, because I actually really like this book, and I think it's going to be useful for my life.
Okay. What kind of books do you usually read, Lily? When you're like, when you just get a book to read on your own, nobody's forcing you, you don't have a task, you just like reading for pleasure. What kind of book do you usually read?
Romance.
Romance.
More romance, yes.
Okay. I know this is a short-handed, but can you think about one or two that you really liked reading? If the names are in Portuguese, no problem. Don't worry about translating.
One of Colin Hoover that I really liked was até o verão terminar.
Great.
And I'm not gonna remember another one.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but this one, it was really good.
Great. Nice. And what about you guys? Some books that you read in the past that you enjoyed. Can you just quote one or two?
Probably I'm reading now is can I say in Portuguese the name?
The name, yeah, sure.
Is Rico por Conta Própria, is about money and financials. How can I invest my money to help me to, and say a lot about habits as well, habits, how to take care about money, and I like a lot of these types of book. I read a lot at my house.
Great. What about yourself?
I don't read many books, but I usually read history comics,
Cool.
like Spider-Man books.
Great. Are you one of those people who actually read those? Because many people, like, when there's a new movie from like a superhero movie, there's always some people on the internet like, hey, this is different from the book, this is different from the comics. Are you one of those kinds of people who, like, fans, die-hard fans, who like, hey, check the comics to see
I
if
think
they're all right?
they need to check to do the movies, but not just focus on the original story. They can change for because, like, in movies there are some adaptations you need to do. They're not everything.
All right. So about Atomic Habits, I don't know for you guys, but for me, I really enjoyed this book because I think, like, if you talk about habits, the very nature of the name Atomic Habits is like reduce it to the atoms, like focus on the little things. I think this is very important. Sometimes we get way too much worried about the big things, about the big stuff, and it's the little details that we do every single day that make a difference in the long run. So I really enjoyed it because it doesn't talk about anything like, it's not a miracle. It doesn't tell you to work 23 hours a day. It doesn't tell you to, like, do crazy things. It's just like small changes in your daily routine that can make a difference, and those differences can add up in the long term and make real transformations. So if we talk about the book now and we go like step by step and talking about, we saw that the book has 4 laws, right? And these laws, in each of those laws, there are some aspects that are approached. So the first thing I would like to talk about here is chapter 1, as we said, the surprising power of atomic habits. It's like, as I was saying, these little changes that add up to your daily routine that can make real world transformations. Can you guys think about, like, hey, this little thing that I could change my routine, or I changed in my routine that made a difference in my daily life? Can you guys think about examples like that?
I am trying to create a habit that is trying to use less my cell phone so I can do more productive things and stop scrolling on TikTok. And I'm trying this.
As your teacher, I really appreciate this habit. just want to say it.
I'm trying this have a week, and I'm thinking I have learned a lot of more productive things instead of just being like watch a lot of bullshit on TikTok.
Okay. So why did you feel that? Like, oh, I need to stop, maybe use my phone a little less. Like, what happened in your life that you say, oh, this is necessary?
I was like watching my settings on the cell phone, and it was like 7 hours of screen time. And I stay 7 hours of my day like just seeing unproductive things. I need to be more focused on a goal or create better habits.
I understand.
To be more productive.
All right. Anyone else? An example? Something?
Probably sleep earlier.
Like go to bed earlier?
Yes, because after I started to sleep earlier, I realized how productive my day was before that. I was feeling really tired before that, so sleep earlier was good for me.
What time do you usually go to bed?
At 10. And I was going
now that you decided to go earlier and before?
Like 11:30, midnight, yes.
All right. And do you still wake up at the same time? Or do you wake up earlier too?
Same time.
So you got 2 extra hours of sleep.
Kind of.
That's going to make a difference in your disposition throughout the day, right?
Of course.
Great. Yourself?
I think that about organization, self-organization.
All right, great. It's important, guys, when you think about changing the habits, it's important to set a goal like, okay, I'm going to be more organized. How much more organized? When we can measure those goals, these things, we're going to discuss this a little further on, but this is very important too. One thing that is discussed in chapter 2 that I found really interesting is like how your habits shape your identity and vice versa. And this is very interesting because your habits shaping your identity is something that we sometimes don't pay too much attention to.
Yes.
So
Yes.
maybe it doesn't look like, but I have been an athlete in the past, like many kilos ago, and I used to be an athlete. Like I used to play rugby and run 10 kilometers a day and go to the gym and bench press 120 kilos every day. So I would do those things every single day and all of them at the same day. And now I'm trying to get back into like a normal weight and stuff. And I feel like this is interesting because nowadays, 10 years later, I have completely different habits. And it's been like some things are hard for me today that I didn't even think about in the past. Like I didn't have the habit of throwing a barbecue on the weekend. I was not married. I used to live with my mom and stuff. I was already an adult. I already worked. But I didn't have this habit of like going out with some friends every single weekend or ordering a pizza or throwing barbecues. Guys like know that I love barbecues or these things were not like if I'm getting on a diet, so I must pay attention to this and that. In the past, it was not even a thing. I didn't even think about it, didn't even cross my mind because it was not a habit I had differently from today. So I think it's interesting, like when you say how your habits shape your identity, because many times we get so embedded into our own social bubbles that we don't really realize how some things are like automatic for us, and for other people it's just like not part of their lives. For some people it's pretty normal that they play beach tennis twice or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Pretty normal, like part of their routine. They don't even think about it. I've never played beach tennis one day in my life. So for me, like if I ever go play beach tennis, which I doubt I will, but anyway, I don't have the coordination for it. So if I ever go and I come back, I'll be like, dude, there's sand all around me. And things like that, for some people, it's just like part of their lives. Some people walk their dogs every single day. Some people never walk their dogs, and things like that. So is it really interesting? Mateus, you, for example, you play basketball. Can you think about anything that is like in the basketball bubble that is like, dude, this is a habit that everybody has? Maybe, I don't know.
People that they are named a hooper, that is a person that see a lot of basketball things on the internet. They probably use pretty small shorts. Is like a super habit along the basketball players. And as well of training, like training becomes a daily thing and a daily necessity. Like if I don't train one day, I'll be crazy on my mind.
Great. So never spend like more than 2 or 3 days without training. Great, nice. You are into playing games on the internet, right? You play a lot and you like streaming and things like that. Is there any kind of habit that you can like identify in your routine that is like, okay, and this is something that people who do this, like most people do. Can you think about any habit like that?
Like me and Mateus, I think for 2 weeks ago, we started playing CSGO. And this game makes
on your phones?
No, on
computer.
And this game just made me crazy, and I start like talking many bad things while I play this game. And I think it's not something about me, but about the community that plays the game.
Cursing a lot.
Yes.
It's like driving. You get very stressed and you start cursing a lot.
This game makes me super crazy.
Yeah, that's why you're feeling like you need less screen time, right?
Yes.
Right, makes sense. How about you, Lele? Is there any social bubble or things that you like, okay, this habit that I have is something that this little community is, can you think about something like that?
Well, I try to study for vestibular and Enem every day, so for me this is a habit, and I think for the community who also does that, it is a habit to like do some questions and to test what you learned. So probably a habit that I would say that I have now is to just keep the frequency, you know?
Just keep the frequency?
Yes.
How many hours do you study every single day?
Well, because of the school, I just have like 3 hours to study at the night.
All right.
So
So you
yeah.
stay in school all morning and afternoon, and in the evening you study some more?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I should do that, but I don't.
But you play CSGO?
Yes.
Sometimes me and João, we go on a Discord call and we study together. I think it's
Yes.
a habit that we have that help us a lot on our assessment, on our
Yes.
school knowledge.
It is tiring,
Study
but
together?
Yes.
it is necessary.
We watch videos about the subject together. We try to resolve the exercises together, and it helps us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Great. Nice.
Oh,
Doing
for real.
together. This is actually very interesting. Something else, moving on to chapter 3, it says chapter 3 was very iconic because part of it was present in one assessment that you guys did
Mm-hmm.
that involved atomic habits. It's like dividing how to build better habits in 4 simple steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. And I think you all hated this cue word, right? I also did. Like cue, you can never remember a cue, but it's like the initial thing that sparks your attention.
The trigger?
The trigger. Trigger is a lot better. So the trigger, the craving, the response, and the reward.
Yeah.
All right. So what would be that? The trigger, something that draws your attention to the problem, not the problem, but the habit itself. You know, the craving, the thing that makes you desire that. Because without an initial trigger, you never desire. You know, if you never really want to become a pro basketball player, if you never saw some people playing professionally and say, I want to be that, I want to do that.
Yes.
You know, the response is what you do with that, and the reward is what you can gain if you did everything all right.
Yes.
So I would like to hear your opinions about that, your comments about that. Even if you say, "No, I didn't like it," anyway, I would like to hear from you a little bit about
I
that.
think the trigger is very important. For example, I go to the gym every day, and the trigger that got me is like seeing people jacked out of their minds, like with beautiful shapes, and like drawing some attention because of a thing that only does not give you a better physique, but it gives you better health,
Mhm.
mentally and physically.
Yes.
Great. Great.
I think this for like kind of rules are a very practical way to develop a habit. So in the assessment, I didn't really like it, but in real life, I think it's very useful because, as Matheus said, it's really important when we discover a trigger, a cue, so we can go after this habit and this change. So I think this is really necessary.
Cool.
Like, for example, sometimes I'm not feeling like going to the gym or going to the basketball, but I'm scrolling on TikTok and it appears a Jorlan motivational video, and like it instantly makes me crazy to go to the gym and give my max power.
Jordan is your favorite basketball player?
No, he's a gym influencer.
Oh, okay.
He's-
Gym
He's
influencer.
crazy.
He's crazy for
He's
real.
crazy.
He's like a bodybuilder?
Yes.
Yes.
He's old, but he's crazy.
He's not that guy from the song What is Love? No, it's not that one,
No,
right?
no, no.
He's similar to a pit bull.
Really?
He's a personal trainer that is like the craziest one, and he has some good motivational phrases.
Great. Nice. That's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Like when you realize that habits are formed in these 4 steps, at least according to what the author said, you can start like having control because you know, oh, okay, this is the trigger. This is the thing that is gonna make me pay attention to it. If I change the trigger, maybe I can change all the rest. Maybe I can change the craving, the response, the cue. So not the cues, the reward. So maybe changing that is important. That leads me to the 4th chapter, which is like the man who didn't look right. In the 4th chapter, there is a habit that he talks about a guy who had to change his wardrobe and change some things in his house. I don't quite remember exactly to tell the story, but what I remember is like, and I took some notes, was he started using the point and call technique. And dude, that is so obvious and that is so fantastic because it's something so simple. He started saying out loud, even though he was alone, every single thing he would do. So it's like, I have to wake up earlier, for example, and he would like turn on the alarm, and he would, when he was going to press the snooze button, you know what a snooze button is?
Yes.
When you would press the alarm to have extra 10 minutes of sleep, and it destroys your sleep. I do that to myself every single day.
Yes.
You know, I always set my alarm to 6 and I would get up at 6:30. I always do that. And then after I did that, I always think, why didn't I get like 30 minutes of like proper sleep? No. And anyway, so what he would do is every time he would do something like that, he would say it out loud. It's like, I'm turning on the snooze button, and he would say that to himself out loud. And that would make him more like conscious of the actions, more aware of the actions, and he would like eventually stop doing those things. And that would be very, very interesting.
I like planning my things the day before. For example, I have a routine on my training, on my gym, on my school, on my classes, on my study, and I like at the night before I talk to myself, not too loud, but in a voice that I can hear myself. I talk about, oh, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m., take a shower, go to school. I will study this, and this subject, and I will go directly to the gym, and etc.
Okay, great. And but just explain to us, like when you say talk to myself, like really talk to yourself,
Yes,
or
yes.
just say some sentences out loud?
No, like, for example, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. Will take a shower, go to school. Tomorrow, Friday, I will have classes. Then after my class, I will go to my house, lunch, and immediately go to the gym. I will train my legs. Then I will go to my house back. I will do some recovery on the pool. Then I will go to
Recovery on the pool.
yes, sir.
Alone, right? We expect.
Yes. Then I will go eat a burger at my friend's house. Then I will go training for basketball.
Okay. One question I have for you is like, don't you ever answer yourself? Don't you ever talk back to yourself?
Yes.
Like, dude, I gotta wake up earlier tomorrow. And then the other inner voice, is like, you know what? You only live once, bro. You know, don't you ever have this argumentation with yourself?
Sometimes I wake up and it's like 6 a.m. and damn, I need to sleep. And the other mind just say, bro, wake up now or you're a bitch.
Yes.
And I just wake up jumping.
Yeah, you know, I never do that. If I set my alarm clock to 6:30 and I wake up naturally, which hardly ever happens, at 6:25, I say, you know what? I got 5 minutes more of sleep. I never really wake up. I should do it because like, oh, dude, yeah, great. I woke up naturally. It's great for my body and my sleep. No, what? I still have 5 minutes plus the snooze button? No way. Never do it. Do you do it? Do you use the snooze button?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, every day.
Every day.
Unfortunately.
For how long?
A lot long. Like, I put like 2 alarms, one 6 and another 6:10, and both of them I put a snooze button.
Yeah.
And after that, I realized that I'm already late. Then
But it's like you sleep, you give yourself some 10 extra minutes, 15 extra minutes?
it's 8, I think.
8 extra minutes?
Yes.
But you only do it once.
Yeah, 8 in.
You get your 8 extra minutes and then you wake up.
No, so it's
Then you
16. Yes.
Okay, 8,
8,
16, and then you wake
yes,
up. All right.
I have a pretty fun habit is when I wake up, I instantly turn off the light. The biggest light of my
Turn off or turn on?
turn on the light
Turn on the light.
of my room that is like on my stretching hand when I sleep on the bed. So I wake up and immediately turn on the light so I can sleep
I
back.
understand. That's it.
Yes.
Interesting strategy. Turn on the lights, turn off the air conditioning, jump in the shower, you know, do those things. Some people say that it's nice if you like put your alarm clock or your cell phone
Yes.
away from you,
Uh-huh.
so it kind of forces you to
To
get up. And
Yes.
didn't
I
work
used
for
to
me.
do that.
Didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a sleepwalker, so
Yeah, me too.
I walked there sleeping and turned it off sleeping, so it's kind of worse.
And come back sleeping.
Yeah,
Yes.
come back sleeping. Yeah, it's kind of worse.
I had a friend who put it under the bed, so he gotta wake up, look under the bed, and get the phone.
I would dream that I would be fighting a monster if I were him. Like, dude, there's a monster in my bed. I would be like, imagine in the dream, you're dreaming, and then there's something making some weird noise under your bed while you're dreaming. That must be terrible in your dream, right?
And
Yeah.
strange.
And strange, of course. Is this like dreaming that you're like going to the bathroom? Never go, you know? Because it's like you always have bad consequences. Never go.
Sometimes I have like the alarm sound like appears in my dream. Like sometimes I'm dreaming that I'm working and the alarm of the place that I'm working is getting up on fire, but it's the alarm of myself.
Exactly. So one thing in chapter 5 that says the best way to start a new habit, you know, I'm gonna read a small sentence to you guys here. He clearly introduces the concept of implementation intentions. This is something we talked about, implementation intentions, and habit stacking. He suggests defining when and where you will perform a habit can significantly increase the likelihood of sticking to it. This is what I started talking in the beginning of the podcast, and said I will discuss that further on. Is right now. It's like when you want to change, you want to make a change. It's very important that you define yourself. You define this change in reality. It's like, okay, I will do this at this time at this place. This is very important. Like setting goals.
Making it obvious.
Making it obvious,
Yes.
exactly. And when you do that, Lily, you bring it to reality. You say, I'm going to lose weight. How much weight? Until when? Where's my deadline? If I don't have all these things, I can spend the rest of my life saying, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to study more. I'm going to read more. I'm going to use less my cell phone. But if you must, it's important, not that you must, but it's important to establish some metrics so you can say, okay, I'm going to do this until this day, you know, for how much, you know, or how long. It's important to establish some parameters for yourself so you don't get lost, because it's very easy to get lost. You know, you can say, I'm going to use my phone less. And you say that for the rest of your life. And every day you use like 8 hours screen on time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say, okay, I'm going to reduce from 8 hours a day to 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day in 6 months. So the first 2 months, I'm going to reduce from 8 to 6, and then from the month 3 and 4, 6 to 4, and month 5 and 6, 4 to 2. And when I get to 2, I'll have accomplished my goal, and I'll stick to that. You know, so that's important to bring it to reality, bring it some time and some sort of metric. Time is very important on that. My question for you guys, for the three of you, is like, have you ever had anything you needed to change and you did or you did not establish yourself metrics to do that? Maybe you can share some story or something that you wanted to change and maybe you didn't change because you didn't establish the metric, or something you changed even though you didn't establish it.
I had a goal when I came back from Belo Horizonte that I will try to. I was kind of starting to get a little bit of a fat percentage of my body raised, and I had a goal like I will eat more protein, and I did a metric. It was pretty good. I started trying to eat less and eat more protein, so every day I only eat at the recess time a protein bar, then I will only lunch, and I established a metric that was pretty good for me. But sometimes I don't establish metrics, and
What kind of metric was it? Like how many calories you're gonna take?
Oh, it's trying to eat less calories so I can lose more than win, and eat more protein. That helps a lot.
Just that. Eat more protein, less calories, more protein.
And trying to eat in specific times so I don't eat every second, because I'm a person that like eating every time. I don't eat so much, but I eat every second, every hour.
Okay, all the time we're eating. Yeah, so you have to pay attention to little snacks throughout the day, right? Okay. You too? Share a story?
I recently I'm going more to the gym, so I think I need to focus more on my, be strong.
Yeah, sure. Who's C-Bum after all, right?
Yes. And like I started doing gym 2 times a week, then 3 times. Now I'm 4 times, and I'm
Moving on.
yes.
Okay, great. And it's like, do you have a metric for that? Like, by, I don't know, the end of the, I don't know, month, or by 3 months from now, I'm gonna be doing every day, or do you have a metric for that?
I think like each month I started to doing something.
To add one extra
Yes.
day in the gym. And when you work out at the gym, it's like you do like weight training, or do weight training and cardio?
I just do weight training. I don't do so cardio training. But I mean, I started waiting for my body to
Adapt.
Yes, to adapt for the time. Like if I just put like I'm going to the gym 5 times a week, and my body can like adapt to that, so it would be really bad.
All right.
We have some questions.
Okay, we have some questions.
Mm-hmm.
Now that feels important, right? that makes us feel important. What is the one habit that you implement into your daily routine that you can already notice a big difference in? Good. Want to answer this one?
A big habit?
No. A small habit
Small.
that you implemented, but it made a big difference.
Probably drink more water. I didn't have the habit at all of drink water, and then I realized that it wasn't good for my health, and it's something that is important, but it's also little because everyone needs to drink more water. So I decided to change that in my life, and it's making a lot of difference.
Yeah, drinking more water sure makes a difference, especially if you're gonna notice that difference later on.
Yes,
down the
of
road.
course.
Sure. For me, maybe one habit that made me a small habit, something that is very clear, very obvious, was for me, stop using your phone after a certain time of the day.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that was obvious. I've known that for a while, but it was like, I never really cared so much for it. So
Yes.
when I started taking care of sleep health, I started paying attention to, okay, what time I'm going to bed, and what time I'm going to sleep. So it's very common that I finish my work at 9 p.m. Like my last class of the day finishes at 9 p.m. most of the days. So after 9 p.m., I'm going to have dinner, I'm going to take a shower and stuff. And then some people say, oh, you should never use your phone
1
I don't
hour
know.
before.
Yeah, like, oh, after 10 a.m., at 10 p.m., don't use your phone anymore. But dude, I just finished my day at 9,
Mm-hmm.
you know? At 10 p.m., I'm just starting to use it, starting to see, to watch
Yes.
something. So I give myself 1 hour, 1 hour and a half to relax.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I say, okay, now it's time. But establishing a time, it's like I lay down, I'm going to use my phone in my bed. I know this is not the most indicated thing to use in bed, but it's like I'm going to lay down and relax a little and watch some TikTok videos or YouTube videos, laugh a little, just relax, just to turn it off a little bit. And then I establish some time. It's like I'm going to do this for 1 hour. And after this 1 hour, I will stop using it and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And something else that has helped me was getting up at the same time every single day, even on weekends. I don't know if it makes a difference for you. On weekends, I usually give myself an extra hour, but I feel like it doesn't interrupt my sleep. But in the past, I used to suffer from very hardcore insomnia.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, I feel like my insomnia is under control. And one of the things that has helped me a lot was every day I wake up at 6:30, on weekends 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I never go past that. Even if I go to bed at 4 a.m., which almost never happens, even if I go to bed at 4 a.m., I will not allow myself to sleep after 7:30. Because it's 6:30 would be the regular time, 7:30, 1 extra hour on weekends, because come on, Sunday, if I wake up at 6:30 on Sunday, it's I'm going back to sleep. I know myself. So 7:30 is all right for me. I give myself 1 extra hour. My body doesn't feel that change. It's differently from the time that I used to wake up at 6 from Monday to Friday, and at 9 or 10 from Saturday and Sunday. That would make a huge difference. And then on Monday I would suffer to get back on track. On Tuesday, Wednesday, that would make me suffer a lot on that. Okay, do you have more comments?
Yes.
Should I ask your comments? Sure.
I will read and you guys answer.
Okay.
Was there any moment reading the book that you had a mentality and it changed about after you reading?
Can you just say that again?
There was any moment that you were reading the book that you had a mentality change? Like you thought something about a habit and you changed that knowledge you had?
Well, I had. Did you?
Yes. There was a part of the book that said that when you make a habit and you miss it one time, it is an accident. And if you miss it twice, it is becoming a new bad habit. So this is something that really changed my mind, because I used to think like, if I miss once, it's okay, and if I miss twice, it's also okay, and then I would return to the habit and then miss like for a week, and then it's a new bad habit that is forming, and I didn't have that in my mind.
Yeah, I would say the same. I was going to say the same. Exactly the same part. I think for me that is the part of the book that made the highest difference for me.
Yes.
If you miss once, it's a mistake. If you miss twice, it's a new habit that is forming. And this has made a big difference, very important difference. Like, don't allow yourself to keep making the same mistakes.
Yes.
Made a mistake, go back on track as fast as you can. That's very important. Especially, I think the most obvious example to that is like when you go to the gym. Like, you miss the gym one day, and you say, you know what, I missed the gym, and then you don't eat correctly because you missed the gym. So you okay.
It doesn't gonna make.
If today was the day that I missed the gym, I can eat a sandwich. What's the problem? I missed the gym anyway, and then tomorrow you don't go again. So no, if you miss the gym today, tomorrow you have to do everything that is in your power to get back on track.
I think of these like.
Just one thing.
Okay.
Bernardo Alpino, stop calling me. I'm not gonna answer. All right? I'm not gonna answer. Go ahead.
It was making the good habit easy. So every time I want to go to the gym is my school is on a place, and the gym is between my school and my house. So it make easier I go out of school and directly to the gym, then to my house. If I go to my house, I will never go to the gym back.
Yes.
And make the bad habit like more difficult. For example, I am super addicted to sugar, and if I have sugar on my house, I will eat like everything and destroy my whole diet only because I love chocolate. So I try not to buy it. So when I go to the when I go to the supermarket, I go alone. So when I see the price of the chocolate, I be like, damn, I won't buy this. It's super expensive, and I don't want to lose my money and my diet. So making difficult.
It's interesting because you're saying that, and I was looking at a page here on the book of a note that I highlighted, not that I wrote, but the one that I highlighted in the book. It's saying exactly that. Trying to eat healthier, it is likely that if you shop on autopilot at your regular supermarket, you should try a new grocery store. You may find it easier to avoid unhealthy food when your brain doesn't automatically know where it is located in the store. If you can't manage to get an entirely new environment, redefine or rearrange your current one. That's interesting. You're saying about make it, because this is part of what the third law says, Matheus, making it easy. And we are the first one, making it obvious. And these two laws are very similar. Make it obvious, make it easy. These two laws are very similar. One extra thing that it says, one extra chapter here, is motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. This is interesting. How can you change? And we've already started talking about that. How can you change or design your environment to serve your purpose better?
Like, Can't talk.
No, you can.
It's like when you change your environment, you used to create new habits. Either it's bad or good, and it's like if in close to your house a gym is open, it's more probably you go to the gym than there's a gym on the other side of the city. You know.
Sure.
Yeah, I was thinking about an example. It's like if you wanna quit social media, then you like just delete the apps, because then you're gonna set a new environment for you, and it's going to be like easier to quit.
Other example is the people that you walk as well with. Like if you're trying to reduce your screen time, like I'm doing, but every time people like just send you TikToks and just send you Instagram reels like the whole day, you won't stop looking at it and you won't reduce your screen time. This of uninstalling the app is good. For example, I tried to uninstall the TikTok app and I did it for 1 month, but then I installed it.
Yes, erasing the apps, uninstalling the apps is kind of drastic decision, isn't it?
It is.
I think like if you can, for example, you uninstall the apps, because nowadays we have to be, we have to admit it, we kind of need social media. We use social media for various purposes. Most of them are entertainment, but it's also a form of connection, network and many things like that. Hearing about the news nowadays, we know more about the news in social media than we do reading papers or TV. But so staying like completely offline, off of social media is something kind of drastic. Some people need you, some people want you, but I think most people would benefit from just like adding a level of difficulty to it. For example, when in your phone you can control how much time you spend on each app. This is one strategy. Something else would be maybe you delete the apps on your phone and you say to yourself, I'm only going to use it on my computer or tablet. Because we know that the fact that a phone is so small, it fits our pocket, it's like we can grab them anytime we want. It makes it a lot easier for us to use it over and over and over, which is like if every time you want to use Instagram, you have to open your computer, turn on your laptop and go to the browser because it's not going to have an app. Because I find myself more productive when I'm using the laptop than when I'm using the phone. One of the reasons, besides the obvious ones like big screen and everything, is like physical keyboard, whatever, is like the fact that you have to do most of the things in the browser here in the laptop. It's like, have you ever tried to scroll videos on the browser in the laptop or computer for long? It's not a pleasant experience. So you watch a couple of videos and then you stop because it's not as fluid as it is on your phone with your finger on touch screen and everything, and you have the proper app. The operating system is designed for that, is optimized for that. On the computer, you can do it. You can do the same thing, but it's not as a fluid of an experience. And it requires you to open the browser, go to the website, get your password. It's not like a click of a button and then you're there. Boom. So maybe deleting from your phone and say, I'm going to use it only on the computer or iPad is going to add a certain level of difficulty to it. I know some people who say, in my phone, I only do this on the phone and do this on the tablet. It's like, I only read in the tablet, never read on the phone or computer. I only write on the computer because for them it's easier to differentiate this kind of activities that they do.
Yes.
Something else that you can do is like,
Something I do to change my environment and some habits is like I don't charge my phone at night, because when it's like 6 p.m. my phone get uncharged, so I can do other usual things and not just.
So you're usually offline after 6 p.m. and you spend that time offline?
More 7. Okay. When I remember to don't charge.
So you stay offline on purpose, so that you don't use your phone so.
Not on purpose, but getting the phone uncharged is force me to not look at internet.
Great. And what do you do when you're like offline, off from your phone?
Like
teacher, I don't do that. I play games.
No, I Like I pass time with my brother as well.
Spending time with your brother. Great. Great. That's interesting. Yeah, this is something that we should be careful for. It's like not, okay, I'm not going to use my phone and then I'm going to play games on the computer. So it's like
Yeah,
you change 6 for half a dozen, doesn't really make a difference.
it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. Exactly. Do we have more questions?
Yes. What concept of the book was more interesting? What concept of the book was more interesting for you guys?
What concept?
Yes. What law, for example?
For me, it was like making good habits easy and bad habits difficult.
Yes.
I think
Mhm.
that's interesting. Like you make bad habits difficult.
And
Like that, like just we mentioned, if you uninstall the social media apps from your phone and you say, I'm only going to use my social media on the computer, for example, you're adding a level of difficulty
Yeah.
to this habit that we know is not very productive. And the same thing happens like on the other way around. Like you have to go to the gym, you choose a gym that is close to your house, or you set your gym close like in an easy place that whenever you get home is easy. You don't have a level of difficulty to go there. Can you tell your best concepts? This is
I think about the opposition when telling about getting good habits and bad habits. Like to get a good habit, cue craving and those things, and to exclude a habit, you need to do the opposite. I
Sure.
think that's interesting that the book told.
great. Do you have, Matheus, anything to comment about that?
No, not so much, but the best thing that the book told me is like to make it satisfying. Like when you do a good habit, you look at you or look at the habit you do and wow, I'm getting better. I'm getting, how can I say,
Getting rewarded.
I'm getting rewarded. Like for example, going to the gym. When I don't go to the gym and I wake up, I see like, oh bro, I'm not as shaped as I was if I went to the gym yesterday. When I go to the gym, I look at, bro, I'm starting to get bigger or get a better physique.
And you start to like this new habit, so it's kind of easier to do it.
Good comment. Start to like this new habit.
Mm-hmm.
Good comments. Okay. And there are some questions? There are some other questions today?
No.
No? No more questions? We finish all the questions? Year 11, you can ask better questions than that, okay? We know we're watching. You can ask better questions. You can do better. And I'm going to evaluate the questions here on this later. Not only these people are being evaluated, you are being evaluated, all right? Okay, so one thing that it has here on this next chapter is the secret to self-control. The idea here is secret to self-control is if you're good at these things that we were talking about of like making the good habits easy and the bad habits like invisible or more difficult, you don't need as much self-control as necessary.
Mhm.
It's like you don't need to worry about having so many candies in your house if you just don't buy the candies.
Like, and it's easier for people to be health in a place where
Everybody eat candies.
Mhm.
yes, no, the opposite.
No.
To be healthy
Where
in a place
nobody
where
eats,
nobody
yes.
eats.
Sure, exactly. Like if you're around the guys from the basketball team and everybody plays and practices every single day, it's a lot easier for you to start practicing sports every single day because you're
Mhm.
surrounded by
It's
people who
easier
do
for
that.
Matheus because his family is like all day doing good habits and healthy habits.
As for example, they trying to eat pretty, a good diet, and for example, for me, I'm getting better and more normal to me. It's getting like more, how can I say, adapted to me now that I can eat better and it's not that far of a habit. Is like on my front eyes, like everything that is on my house is healthy and it's okay to me to eat healthier.
Sure. Next thing, how to make a habit irresistible. Your comments about that, because I think the title here explains itself. How to make a habit irresistible.
It probably becomes irresistible when you start to see the results. Not see the results, but when you have in your mind the reward that you're gonna have with this habit.
Great.
And as I said before, when you start liking to do this thing, it is going to be like irresistible. If you start to liking to go to the gym, it's going to be like irresistible to not going for a day,
Great. That's. I think you just nailed it. You combine it, you match it with the end goal, because every good habit, if we think about it, good habits usually have bad or unpleasant consequences in the short run, but good consequences in the long run. And bad habits are the opposite. So eating healthy is not as pleasant as eating junk food.
Yes.
Junk food always tastes better, or most of the times. But in the long run, eating healthy is going to make you feel better. And when you stack it, like you put like a good habit close to the goal, to the reward that you get, it's very motivating, because you feel like, okay, if I want to do this, I will do that. And you always reminding yourself.
And during the time as well, like to put good habits step by step, and not just put a good habit at the end, Like at the beginning of an action you do, you get rewarded. So you got motivated to do this from
Every single step. For example, for me, habit is a detail that you do in your thing, that you do every day, that in the long run you will get a big reward. So you can like become a natural and automatic thing that will make your life better or easier.
And something I think it may be a lot of irresistible is that I read that the cost of your good habits is in the present, and the cost of your bad habits is in the future. So I think when you think of that bad habit as a bad consequence also in the future, it's going to be more irresistible to not do the good habit.
Sure, exactly. And it's you kind of telling your brain, hey, this is what happens if you do it. This is what happens if you do it. Next one, I'm kind of hurrying up now because we don't want to be here for the whole morning. The role of family and friends in shaping your habits. Do you often rely on friends and family to help you get motivated, or
If people have the same habits as you, like you have a gym bro, like this is
Do you
super
have a gym
good.
bro?
No, I train like alone and sad and depressed.
You're both training alone? Come on.
Yes,
Gabriela.
gotta train together. Oh, I'm starting to train with my girlfriend as well.
Sure.
And I think it's better, for example, on my studies about financials, my dad helped me a lot. I think when I have a person to check on me, to give me more motivation, is a lot better.
Great. One thing that I think is very interesting is number 10. How to find and fix the causes of your bad habits. I think this is great. This is like something we often find out in therapy. The causes of your bad habits. Because sometimes you have a bad habit when you're trying to find the habit, but you sometimes have to fight the cause. What is making you take that decision every single day? So if your cause is like, oh, I'm sleeping late, I'm going to bed late, and I want to sleep earlier. So instead of just saying sleep earlier, you're trying to understand why is it that you're going to bed late. Okay, is there anything that is calling your attention, disrupting your sleep? And then you fix that.
It's like thinking about the entire process and not about the result.
Not necessarily the result, but the origin. For example, I'm feeling anxious, and then starting to take some medicines. So maybe before I start taking, I'm not saying medicines are not important, but before we start taking the medicines, let's try to understand when and why you're feeling anxious.
What is causing that?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So if you feel anxious every single day for absolutely no reason, you probably have a chronic problem and you need to see a psychiatrist and do some sort of treatment. But if you only feel anxious when let's say, you're close to assessment dates and then you feel anxious, So maybe your anxiety is not a result of a disease, but the results of like lack of preparation.
Yes.
Maybe you're deep down inside, you know you didn't prepare so well. You know who I'm talking to,
Bruno.
you know that you didn't prepare so well, and then your body says, dude, we're gonna die. Because our body doesn't understand, like, we're gonna fail an exam and get a C and we're gonna die. It's just
But,
like die for our
Like,
body.
we are always prepared.
Sure. That's why you never feel anxious.
Yeah.
That's why you use your phone 8 hours a day.
Yes.
Sure.
Last assessment of Bruno, I didn't sleep. It was on a Monday. Sunday I didn't sleep. I was like super anxious. And when I got to do the exam, I tried to calm myself, and I did it good. I did 80% correct of the assessment.
Mr.
But I
Bruno.
was super anxious.
Mr. Bruno. Should I call you Mr.? Okay. Invite you to a podcast like later on with the teachers. It would be great.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's it. Sometimes you fix the cause. You're feeling anxious because of the assessment. Maybe the problem is not the assessment, it's your lack of preparation for the assessment, you know? Sometimes you felt anxious when you started, you know, oh, I'm going to a podcast, I'm going to speak live, you know, but maybe you say, you know what, I read the book, you know, I have, my English is all right, I read the book, why am I going to feel anxious? We're just going to talk about it, you know?
Yes.
So, and we have to understand, I'm not saying that every kind of anxiety is that. I'm saying that you have to identify. Maybe your case is a clinical one, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just like you're nervous because you know you didn't do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
A good thing that talks on like the last chapter of the book is how if you be super rigid at the doing the habits, you like super stressed about these habits, and you need to maintain a level that you can stay doing the habit every day, but you don't overuse or overpass this habit, so you don't stress or don't lose the control of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
This is a pretty fun thing pretty nice thing that I read on the book as well.
It's like getting balance between having fun and having
Results.
yes.
Great. Now we're entering the third law. Make it easy. You know, I will summarize it by laws later on down the road. You know, make it easy. The first chapter on this third law, make it easy, is walk slowly but never backward. This is very important. You know, it starts by giving the example, and I want to read a little bit of the example to you guys here. It's about the people who were studying in a photo course. They want to be photographers, and the teacher assigned 2 groups, and one group was assigned to take as many pictures as they could, and without caring so much about the quality, and the other ones were assigned to take only the best pictures they could ever take.
Mm-hmm.
You know, remember those? Remember?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and it was interesting because we were expecting the people from the quality group to take the better pictures, but actually it turned out to be the opposite. The people from the quantity group took the better pictures. They also took the worst ones. But as they had the quantity, they had the numbers, it was not a problem for them. Can you comment on that a little bit?
What I remember about this part, it was because the group that was responsible for taking the quantity pictures, they like took photos of kind of everything, so it was kind of that make their work beautiful. And the other one, they were too focused on like making a perfect picture that they couldn't like take a really perfect picture because they were too worried. Yes.
Sure. Yeah, and sometimes it happens. Sometimes we're so much worried about having everything right, doing everything perfectly, that sometimes it's just do it. You know, just do it. Because if you never start, like if you want to have a podcast scenario just like this, and you say, okay, I will only do it when I have the perfect camera, the perfect microphone, the perfect computer to edit, the perfect lights, the perfect environment, the perfect beauty, you're never going to start.
Yes.
Sometimes you just have to start. Even, you know, it's just start, and then you improve down the road, but just start, just do it, you know?
It's like it's better to improve a little every day than just have a high improvement on the end.
Exactly, high improvement like 10 years from now,
Yes.
you know? So it's like, the quantity group was like always trying, and eventually they got it right. And if we think about it, so you always, if you only go to the gym when you have like eating the perfect amount of calories, the perfect food, you know, you have the perfect clothes, your shoes are perfectly clean, you know, everything's perfect, you know, you don't have any appointment, nobody's sick, you don't have to do anything, you'll never do it.
I learned this in the book I'm reading about stock market, that you when you need to invest in the stock market, you don't need to wait for the money that you have to be on the perfect money, to be on the perfect place and location. You just need to start it and start it quickly, because with the time you learn better, with your experience, you try to be more perfect in the habit or the thing you want to do.
Coach talk right now.
Okay, sure.
For real.
Coach talk.
Yeah, you have to change your mindset, buddy.
Thank you, teacher.
Exactly. So, this is important. You know, just try. You know, the amount of attempts that you make, they're gonna compensate for the thing you stop. Like thinking and planning. You know, there's a saying in Portuguese: "Melhor feito do que perfeito." This is something that illustrates that perfectly. Melhor feito do que perfeito. Sometimes we wait until something's perfect, and you know, we don't get it done because it's not perfect yet. Do we have comments?
No.
Okay, let's go ahead. I want to summarize, so instead of going chapter by chapter now, so we can finish. I want to talk about the big laws now. Move on, instead of talking only about the chapters, but talk about the big laws. I would like us to comment about the 4 laws. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Can we comment on that? Make it obvious. We've already said some chapters that illustrate this. Make it obvious. You prepare your environment, you know, it's the things that you have to do to achieve your goals are a lot more obvious than, you know, otherwise. Make it attractive. You make good habits irresistible. You remind yourself of the good things from the habits. You remind yourselves of the rewards that you get if you accomplish everything. But what about making it easy? Let's talk about
Making it easy is so you can set everything through your day to the habits that you need to do. For example, go to the gym, become easier. Like if you get a gym closer to your house or to your school, when you get out of the school, you can go to the gym. It will be easier if you then need like to cross the whole city just to go to a better gym, for example.
Sure, sometimes. Okay, good. What else?
I don't really have comments for that.
Okay, good. João, do you have any?
No.
Okay, so that's it. Making it easy. You know, there are many things that we can do to make it easy, and simplify. You know, sometimes we try to make things become way too much complex, and we don't need that. You can just simplify, you know, and go straight to the point. Okay.
Yeah, it's like dividing it into steps.
Exactly, dividing it into steps. Exactly. So instead of saying, "Oh, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a 200-page book," you say, "Okay, I'm going to write 1 chapter and focus on this 1 chapter." You know, it's a lot. When you break it down to small steps, it's a lot easier because it's a lot closer to our reality, to our life.
I have a good example. For example, if you want to run 10 kilometers, I think if I put on my shoes, I can't run 10 kilometers straight. Like I will die on the 5th kilometer. Like you need to first do 2 kilometers, then do it more quickly, then you go to 4.
If you die on the 5th
5.
kilometer, you're going to pass over my body at the first.
Yes. And then you will progressively increase, so when you get to the goal that you had, will be easier to achieve that goal.
Sure, exactly. If you say, okay, I have to run or I have to walk every day and never stop, and then you do that, and then okay, now that I'm walking every day, I'm going to start running. You know, for how long? I don't know. I can run for 5 minutes, and you do that. One day, eventually, you get to the 10 kilometers. That's good. What about making it satisfying? What about that? Making it satisfying.
It's like,
Fala, você.
it's like at the end, you should have a pleasurable goal. Like when you get into the end of what you have in mind, you need to get result. Because if you don't get result, you don't get motivated to continue doing this.
Sure. Great. You see the
It's
results.
similar to the second one. It's like one complement the other.
Yes.
One example of this is like, for example, if you go to the gym and your goal is like, don't miss the gym. I'm gonna give a personal example. I was doing some training that was kind of crazy. I think I commented with you, like strength training. That was like lifting a lot of weight for some small repetitions.
Yes.
One of the things that made me enjoy that training so much was like I could see the progression very clearly. Because when you're doing a training, so you're training like that for strength. When you're training for strength, I'm not talking about hypertrophy or conditioning or anything. For strength, you have a very specific metric that you want to, go up in, which is weight, how much load you can get. So every time I moved my squat from 100 kilos to 110 to 120, 140, that was very satisfying because it was clear. And I felt a huge difference compared to the other times I used to train like for normal hypertrophy. Because when you train for hypertrophy, you don't have a metric.
Yes.
Getting more weight for hypertrophy doesn't mean you're training your muscles better. Sometimes with less weight, more repetitions, no change in the stimulus, you have different stimulus to your muscle, and to be more aesthetic, you need to be. This is a combination of so many things: food and rest and training, etc. But for me, it was very important. It was very motivating to have that metric. I see the weight on the bar going up. So moving back to traditional hypertrophy training, and this is one example that the book makes, is like, how can I make a metric for myself? Instead of, okay, I'm losing weight, I'm getting more muscle mass. One example would be mark on the calendar, maybe even a physical one, mark all the days that I went to the gym.
Yes.
Marking that, and I'm still not using the printed one, but I'm using the watch for that. It's like every day there is like a metric. Oh, I trained for 30 minutes, I trained for 40 minutes, and I didn't skip. And if you do that, after a month, you look back at your month and say, you know what? I've only missed 4 days in the whole month. That's great.
And like with this metric, you can metric as well your progression.
Exactly.
Like after 10 days, I will raise my weight.
Great, exactly.
And I think it's going to become satisfying because you see progress.
You're gonna see the progress.
Yes.
Exactly.
I like putting up my weight. When I finish the series, I think like I'm a lot more satisfied. I'm thinking like I'm super more strong now.
Yeah, exactly. So some things, I think the takeaway from this is sometimes we have habits or things or goals that we want to achieve that we don't have a clear metric. And if we don't have a clear metric, we have to find out a strategy to, metrify it in a way that you can just say, okay, this is what I'll do to tell myself I'm doing the right thing.
Yes.
You're gonna get a hit of dopamine here. Yeah, I did the right thing. And I think that's the one great example of this. Before we finish, I would like to talk about one thing that he says in the end. He talks about chapter 20, the downside of creating good habits. Is there a downside to creating good habits? Page 184.
Like I talked
184
Like I
starts.
talked before, when you be too much rigid on a habit, it will start like to stress you more than you need to stress about the habit. You need to maintain a level and go up the stair in a slow way, but never downstairs, just up. So you will make a progress to your goal, but will be slow, and in the long run will help you more than you stress your mind out trying to be quick to achieve your goal.
Great.
Yeah, I read something that said that you only start a new habit if you have 98% of sure that you can do it with frequency, and also doing it slowly and not stressed, as he said. So I think this is very important, and I think there is a downside of creating good habits if you get stressed and if you these habits start to be like something difficult to do.
Great. Do you have any comment on that?
I think that like the bad side of creating a good habit, maybe like don't being so productive as you imagine. Like at the beginning of your gym, you must be like more productive than by when you're like 10 years training, because you don't have so much weight to put on and keep progressing.
That's interesting. Progression starts to get lower after you hit a certain point. That's interesting.
Other thing that I think is good is like if is a goal that is on the gym, you need to stop comparing yourself with the others. For example, if you start going to the gym now and you train and you see like a bodybuilder, then you'll be, damn, I'm super small. Or you train with a person, for example, I train on the gym and a person in my age is bigger than me, so I will be like less motivated or more motivated depending on it.
That's one of the problems in the gym that you see lots of people like, you've been in the gym for 3 years and then you see a guy who just, you know that guy is not there for longer than 6 months, but he's already stronger and fitter than yourself. Maybe he's using steroids and you don't know it, but it's like, nobody's gonna walk up with a shirt, I'm using steroids, don't compare yourself to me. So I think they should be mandatory, and that's one of the things that you compare yourself to others. What I think is a problem is when you get so immersed in a bubble that you kind of lose contact with with normal people.
Out of the world.
Wow,
Like
exactly.
when you go too extreme on the habit, like you start losing friends or like not remember the reality.
For example, I have a friend, her name is Victoria, she's a friend of mine, and she's like a personal trainer. And she's, her brother is one of my best friends ever. And her brother's like, he doesn't work out, like never, he's like, he never works out, he's not into that, he's like a gamer, and he doesn't care so much he doesn't care anything about fitness and everything. But Victoria is a personal trainer, and she's really strong and she's really fit, and she's not a bodybuilder because she doesn't want to compete. But if you look at her, you're gonna say she is a bodybuilder, and her lifestyle. She only doesn't compete. And this friend of mine, he was telling her, sis, I want to start working out, but I want to start slowly, maybe 3 times a week. What do you say? And she said, no, if you want to have results, you have to go every day. He said, nah, but I want to go slowly. She said, there's no slowly, you have to go every day. I think this is one example because I've been in both situations, this is one clear example. Like she's so immersed into that fitness bubble that she lost contact with the normal folk.
Yeah.
She lost the contact and the level of comparison in her mind. She's comparing to, okay, you have to work every day. You're gonna have this amount of progress. But it's like we're talking to a normal person who just wants to have a little bit healthier life. He doesn't want to become anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't even want to get jacked. He just wants to get a little healthier. And it's like for him who does 0, started doing like 3 times a week is a huge advancement.
Yeah.
But she's not seeing that because she's so immersed on the everyday that for her training every day only for 1 hour is little. For her, it's like 1 hour cardio, 1 hour weight training. For her, it's like she works
If
out
a
a lot.
person like don't do gym and go 5 times a day, 5 times a week, you like die of pain.
Yeah, the first month, this person's gonna die of pain. So I think this is a clear example, at least for me, of like how a person can be so immersed in a bubble that they lose contact with it. It's like you guys speak English. We've been speaking English for over an hour now, and somebody comes to you, a friend of yours, and say, you know what? I want to start, downloading an app or watching a video or 2. And say, no, you have to study 3 hours of English a day. No, you don't. You don't.
And it is related as well to focus only in one environment.
Exactly. It's like when you get immersed in the social bubble, it happens so much.
Everything, I think, the biggest book resume is that everything needs to be balanced.
Everything is
Yes.
balanced. Exactly. E é isso aí. E aí, finalizamos então a discussão do livro Atomic Habits. Espero que vocês tenham. O que vocês acharam? Vamos falar em português um pouquinho.
Foi legal. Acho que foi bom falar sobre esse livro.
Foi mais fácil ou mais difícil que vocês imaginavam?
O começo foi bem difícil.
É.
Aí no final
Sério?
fui me acostumando. Eu tava meio nervoso, eu tava
O
travado.
começo foi bem difícil, no final tava igual o começo. Então é isso. Então,
Mas eu gostei muito.
foi legal porque a gente fez literalmente uma análise do que a gente estudou em sala.
Sim.
Então, nada do que a gente falou aqui é algo que a gente não fez em sala. A gente leu esse livro, discutiu, e estamos discutindo ele aqui agora. E a gente vai fazer isso com outros livros. A gente tem outros livros, então esse faz parte do Book Club, né, que é o projeto do Club, que é do ensino médio, né, do conteúdo do New Brunswick, e a gente vai continuar assim. Então, no semestre que vem a gente vai ter outros livros, a gente vai continuar trazendo aqui as discussões em inglês, e eu achei muito legal.
Agora com pessoas diferentes, né? Porque
Pessoas diferentes. Não vai ser sempre as mesmas, né? Vai ter os convidados tristes, né? Mas assim, a ideia é que todo mundo participe. E eu achei, vocês estão de parabéns.
Provavelmente eles não vão chegar no nosso nível, né? Mas parabéns para vocês três. O inglês foi muito legal, né? O debate foi bem legal. Vocês três de fato leram o livro, então estou de parabéns. E ficamos para o próximo episódio do Podem.
Falou, rapaziada.
Vamos.